Hello and welcome to a gloriously sunny Goodwood and to our new show, First Glance.
We're at the Festival of Speed to enjoy the next 4 days of Britain's greatest curation of cars.
We're here in a very busy moving motor show.
This is where all of these people get a sneak peek at the latest and greatest to hit our roads.
And we get to see how these gorgeous cars take on the challenge of that very famous Goodwood Hill climb.
Here's what we've got coming up in the next hour.
We'll go back to the future as we celebrate the birthday of two of the UK's most iconic cars.
It's try then buy time as manufacturers source their new-to-market road cars.
We'll take a look at how gaming and driving are becoming increasingly intertwined.
From SUVs to supercars, interviews with Hollywood superstars, we've got it all covered at the Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Now, the beauty of the moving motor show is that it gives the opportunity to potential customers like you and I to actually get in the car and test drive it for themselves.
So where better for a busy working mum to choose her new family car?
I am a mama on a mission looking for an SUV, so what better place to come than Goodwood? The thing is, I'm looking for practicality, I'm looking for space because we don't travel light, but I'm also a bit of a petrol head. Practicality alone just isn't going to cut it. So first stop is the Jaguar Land Rover stand. This is probably a bit too racy. Come on, girls. Time to take a look at the F-Pace Jaguar, much anticipated. Jade, what are Zena and I going to love about this car?
What you'll love about this car is that it's a very practical car, biggest boot in its class.
What do you think, Zena? I think she likes it. Shall we have a look inside, Zena? Look. Oh, what do you think? Oh, very luxurious, as you would expect from Jaguar.
And like all Jaguars, packed full of technology. It will text your husband to let him know if you're going to be late from your journey.
You mean when I'm going to be late, not if? Oh, and what does that button do, Zena? Yeah. One of the cars I'm here to look at is the Tesla Model X. Emma, we know about the beautiful falcon wings. They're gorgeous, but are they practical?
They are very practical and functional too. Let me show you.
Look at that. Sandy, what do you think? Do you want to have a go? Oh, look, she does. There you go, look, just for a minute. There we are, lovely. What do you think? Do you like it?
So everything can be controlled with the 17-inch touchscreen.
Which is pretty immense. Does it drive itself?
The car does have the autopilot functionality.
Well, before autopilot takes control, I'm going to have a go. This is the first fully electric SUV on the market, and of course Tesla have done it in style. And the cabin, well, it's a bit like being on a superjet. I don't know about a car. What I'm dying to try is, of course, the ludicrous mode. I'm going, flooring it. Whoa! Instant torque and instant speed. It really is like a jet. You've really got to get used to the fact that there is no engine noise. It's just the slipstream outside. It's very aerodynamic. So I've got 3 babies, which means 3 car seats, all the gumph that goes with the babies. Would they all fit in here? Definitely. Would I want them all in here? Maybe not. It's just so peaceful.
Julia, I am dying to know, how did you get on? We've got the gorgeous Tesla Model X behind us, showing off those rather fantastic doors, and the Jag F-Pace. What's the verdict?
My heart is telling me that you have to go for the Tesla because it's safe, it's got the eco-credentials, it's incredibly comfortable, it's very luxurious, it's very spacious. I mean, it's beautiful. I don't think aesthetically you can fault this car. I mean, just look at the falcon wings.
They're pretty impressive, aren't
they? They are. They're
and
very,
what about
very
the
impressive.
F-Pace?
So the F-Pace, I'm excited for Jaguar because they finally made an entree into the SUV market, and it's a very competitive field. It's a beautiful looking car. I'm seduced by the looks. I'm very seduced by that front grille. The final test for me, of course, is going to be to get them both in a field.
Which is where you're most at home, of course.
Thank you for that.
Well, Julia, thank you so much, and enjoy your little trip up the hill climb later, because Julia is going something a little bit more powerful. But in the meantime, earlier in the week, I got to leave my wellies behind and go for a drive in something rather luxurious. Well, this is Bentley's offering, the Bentayga, and it's got bagfuls of performance, style and cachet. Right, well, let's take a look. And attention to detail on this is just incredible. I mean, look at the B-shaped wing vents. We've got these gorgeous curves which give that signature Bentley shape. And imagine you've got your hands full of shopping, give it a kick. And there you are, your boot opens, hands-free style. How good is that? And to make it easier to load, you actually just have to press this button and it lowers the boot of the car. Now, I think it's time to take her for a spin. Now this is a 6-litre W12 engine which provides a whopping 600 brake horsepower and top speeds of 187 miles per hour according to Bentley. It also doesn't roll like other SUVs, and that's thanks to the very first active roll control technology. Now this car also boasts a traffic sign recognition system, so immediately in front of me I can see what the speed limit is at the moment. Now this is certainly the first time I would ever venture to take a Bentley off-road, and it is very bumpy, but it manages it very well. Now this car retails at over £200,000, and you can really start to see why. I mean, there's plenty more tech in the back as well to keep your passengers happy. You've got your own 10-inch tablet which you can actually take off and play with. Have a look at this. There is a little control where you can set your own climate for your seat. You can have a look at what speed the driver's going at. And if you're lucky enough to be sitting in the front seat as a passenger, this car has got one other trick up its sleeve, and that is this. This is in fact a massage seat, not with just one setting, but 6 different massage settings. Rather lovely. Now, if you happen to have £200,000 to hand and you're looking for exquisite refinement, comfort and luxury, all wrapped up in an SUV, high-performing and packed full of the latest innovative technology, then the Bottega is the car for you, and I promise it won't disappoint. Here we go! Woo! Got to succeed in 4 seconds, just like that. Done. Woo!
Looks like it didn't disappoint Nikki. The legendary Derek Bell at the wheel there. So we've just seen Nikki and Julia test out some SUVs in what's becoming a really important part of the market. And year on year, I think we're seeing this SUV market growing and growing. I've got Scott Dickin here from Land Rover and Matt Saunders, Chief Tester for Autocar, to talk about where we are at the current time with SUVs. I mean, Matt, where do you see this never ending? I mean,
difficult to say. I mean, the market right now is really in the ascendant. I think last year the market was up 10% overall. I think Jaguar Land Rover sales were up something like 25%. So there are some manufacturers doing really well at the moment, making hay while the sun shines, and you know, everybody just wants an SUV, don't they? A lot of the growth has come from mainstream manufacturers just dipping a toe. They're basically launching the sort of cars that would have been regular hatchbacks 10 years ago and are now what they call crossovers. They're in the part of the market that's defined as SUV-C or SUV-B. We're talking about Nissan Qashqais, Nissan Dukes, Renault Captures, those sorts of cars. Cars with just a little bit of SUV in them to kind of make them feel a bit fresh and different, really.
now is crossover a dirty word at Land Rover?
It's not a dirty word, but you know, we focus on SUVs, and I think one of the other benefits of why SUVs are growing is actually there's no compromise now. Cost of ownership of SUV with modern technology is no real compromise versus a standard car or sedan. So customers like the security, they like the versatility, the safety that an SUV provides, but again, there's no downside. So they drive as well as a car, they're as cheap to run as a car, and you just get the benefits.
Well, there we have it, expert opinion. I think more of this coming. So everyone's having fun in the sun here at the Festival of Speed, except our Nikki, who's driving in the virtual world. Me, I'm off to Belgium. While Nikki gets to grips with virtual reality, I'm stuck here in boring old reality. Okay, maybe not so old or boring. I'm here for the global launch of the Nissan GTR. A car with a reputation for being 2 parts supercar, 1 part video game. The 2017 GTR features a new front end featuring Nissan's latest design signatures. And while the remaining exterior is very familiar with anyone that's cast an eye over a previous GTR, it has undergone subtle changes to make the car more aerodynamically efficient, with less drag but retaining the same amount of downforce as the current GTR, so the car remains stable at high speeds like those you will encounter on a de-restricted autobahn. Nissan have also redesigned the interior. The information screen's a lot bigger, so it makes it easier to take in the information when you're traveling at speed. I remember the first time I drove a Skyline, or a GTR as they're now called, and it just makes you feel so fast straight out of the box. It's such an accomplished car. The old adage is that if you make a car simpler and less advanced, it'll be somehow more pleasant to drive. But that's just not the case with a GTR. You just embrace that sort of white lab coat excellence of the thing, and you just want them to give you more, give you all the tech you can take. This car is a grand tourer in the proper sense, and it absolutely eats up the miles and in total comfort. Which reminds me, we better get our foot down if we're going to make our date with the circuit. Spa is one of the finest and most historic Grand Prix circuits in the world, with the most famous corner, Eau Rouge. I can't wait to see how the GTR handles it. We've got a few laps to try it out. Guiding me around the famous circuit was race instructor Costas. What a way to start, straight onto Eau Rouge, eh?
Nice. We wait, we turn, aim straight, and floor it, go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes.
It just feels so composed and it's amazing.
It is. And then give me speed, give me speed.
Costas wants speed, we're giving him speed, we're giving him everything we've got. Into Blanchimont.
Yes,
oh, it just picks up
yes.
beautifully. How much fun is this? This is absolutely fantastic. What a fantastic track and what a fantastic car to try it in. So much fun. Driving this car around this circuit is a totally absorbing experience. It has an effect on the whole body, not just the mind. I think I'm still shaking. Guys, one more go. Go on. One more? Come on.
Well, hello and welcome to our gorgeous studio here, literally right in front of the gorgeous Goodwood house.
Best seat in the house without a doubt.
It really, really is. And what a great experience, the Nissan GTR.
I think Nissan GTR and Spa Circuit, perfect combination. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, I think we've also got a perfect combination sitting right here in our studio. Nissan Nismo racing driver Jan Mardenborough and also Adam Towler. Guys, I've got to ask you first, Jan, because you're kind of living proof, I suppose, that you can go from being a gamer, sitting at home, racing at your computer screen, to actually a real-life racing driver. How cool is that? How did that all come about?
So it happened 5 years ago. I was a normal student on a gap year from university, entered GT Academy, which is the competition which enables the winners to live out their childhood dream of being a racing driver. And it's good as well to prove to the world that there is another way into motorsports and you can do it successfully.
It's come a long way since Outrun, if everyone remembers that.
A long way since sort of sitting in the arcade and putting in pound coins after pound coins and having some fun and drifting this car.
Are you seeing an improvement every year yourself in the simulation?
Yeah, it's. I still use the simulators to learn new tracks and prepare for a race weekend. Still, they're still a part of my career.
And Adam, what's your view on it all? The gamification of racing. We're also seeing quite a lot of car manufacturers actually test their concept cars in the virtual world before actually making it into the real thing in the real world.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, cars have always been a popular subject for games. You mentioned Outrun. That was a Testarossa convertible. That was not a production car, so that was a kind of concept, very example. Later on in the 90s, you had official franchises like Lotus Esprit Challenge, but things are very different now. And when you've got lots of brands in a game like Gran Turismo, that gets people used to playing with different cars, driving different cars. So it was a kind of logical extension, I think, for car companies to see this big captive audience, really, and to test out new designs on them.
So Adam, look into your crystal ball for us. Tell us, we've seen an amazing change over the last 10 years. Where are we going to be in the future with these two worlds meeting?
I think we've all seen how the graphics in these computer games have got almost photorealistic. I understand Gran Turismo Sport is going to support virtual reality, so presumably the real world and the virtual reality world will sort of become kind of interchangeable soon, and you'll be able to pick whatever car you want, drive it wherever you want, and it'll seem like you're doing it for real. I guess that's the end game.
Scary but exciting world to be in. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. But now, coming up, we'll be looking at the sportier end of the market with our supercar roundup.
And we'll be joined by some more very special guests. Welcome back to the Moving Motor Show. Now, earlier we saw Julia Bradbury taking a look at some new SUVs. But it wouldn't be Goodwood without a supercar experience. And she's just been given a trip up the legendary hill in a Ferrari California T.
Here we go. Ah, nice little, nice little spin around the track. So this is the new improved California T. Improved because apparently it's got a bit more grunt. I wasn't in the last one, but I can tell you what, this one's definitely got grunt. Apparently, it's not about the brake horsepower, it's about the torque. And this prancing horse has got a lot of torque. And of course, it's got that gorgeous Ferrari sound.
So Julia, I'm guessing not the first time in a Ferrari, but the first time in a California?
It is the first time in a California, not the first time in a Ferrari. You know, everything you expect from a Ferrari, that incredible sound. But just, you're always surprised by the beauty and the grace and the power, the sheer torque of this beast is...
Did you get it sideways a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of sideways shifting along.
And have you been to Goodwood before?
I have been to Goodwood before, but this is my first time at the Festival of Speed.
And you enjoying it?
I think it's a fantastic experience. If you're at all interested in cars in any way, and actually you just want a good day out, it's a great event.
And you've been lucky enough to take a ride up the hill?
In a prancing horse, no less. What could be better?
Exactly. Well, with the smell of burning rubber, Ferrari, I think the only place we can go to now is a supercar paddock.
Based on GT12, which again is inspired by our race cars, putting that into a road-going form as a coupe with a 6-litre naturally aspirated engine. In this instance, you take the roof away.
And the best thing about Goodwood is we'll actually get to see this going up the hill.
You will, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to drive it up the hill.
Over 10 years since the old NSX went out of production. This is the brand new 2016 Honda NSX. And, you know, as you'd imagine, state-of-the-art Honda design, carbon floor. And it's actually quite a departure for Honda's usually understated looks. And I think it's got quite a lot of presence on the roads. Yours for £130,000. And Goodwood sees the public debut of the McLaren 570S Sprint. This joins that, some would say, strange category of a car that's not road legal, it's actually not even race legal. It's essentially an expensive track toy. But at 150 grand, I actually could see as a bit of a bargain, especially compared to its big brother, the P1 GTR, which will actually cost you another 1.8 million. Right on the edge of the supercar paddock is Bugatti Chiron. Now, they're billing this car as a hypercar, not even a supercar, so that's why it's right at the end. And it has to be good, really, to fill the boots of the car it's replacing the Veyron. Everything is ambitious and big about this car, including the numbers. Let's start with the engine. We've got a W16 8-litre quad turbo, developing 1,500 horsepower. The car's limited to 261 miles an hour, but I think we all know it'll go a lot faster than that. They're not even quoting the 0 to 60 speed. We're thinking less than 2.5 seconds. And the biggest number, probably the most important number for those out there enjoying this car, 2.4 million euros. It's quite a little bit more now with Brexit. And Jaguar's contribution to the supercar paddock is this F-Type SVR, and I believe, Adam, you've just been up in the hill in it.
What a thrill, an amazing machine. My heart was thrown into the back of my chest. I'm still shaking now.
A genuine 200-mile-an-hour Jaguar.
Just unbelievable. I was being driven by the technician from Jaguar, who is a masterful driver, I have to say. I felt very safe with him behind the wheel.
But a lot of fun?
Oh, incredible. I was just so excited. What a machine.
Were you in a straight line for any of it?
Not much. Four-wheel drive, just burning around the corners. Wonderful.
Excellent stuff. Oh, well, we might see you in one soon, eh?
Maybe.
Jaguar have a little history of launching these SVRs at Goodwood. 2 years ago, they launched the Range Rover Sport SVR here, so a bit of history. And I think the big selling point of this car, apart from the looks, the speed, and the design, is this. This is a great sounding car. This is the much anticipated world premiere of the latest in the DB series, the DB11. But we're not going to show you too much of this car here, because we've managed to persuade Aston Martin to give us the first drive of this car. First impressions are, it's exactly what you hope the evolution of the DB series would be. It's a great touring car. You can imagine gobbling up the miles, vast continental drives, getting out without a care in the world. This car feels effortless, it feels powerful, it feels luxurious. It's exactly what an Aston Martin should be. In comparison to the outgoing DB9, this car feels much bigger inside, first of all. It does feel really powerful, and I think with the twin turbos, 600 horsepower, it does everything you need. The steering also feels super quick, and a big advance on the last one, I feel. Some car manufacturers have to tick a certain box when they bring out a new car. You have certain German makers that have to be reliable. But Aston Martin's single first job is to be beautiful. And this car is very beautiful. It's quite nice to be the first person driving a DB11. And you know what? It's not just nice, it's very nice.
Back to the Festival of Speed, and here's the DB11 accelerating around the circuit earlier.
Now at Goodwood, there are always plenty of famous faces, and this year we've even got this one of Ben Shepherd. Ben, how are you?
Like how you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
Very good, very good. You've had a busy day, had the family out. What have been the highlights for you at Goodwood?
It's been brilliant. It's just been fantastic. Bit of sunshine, a lot of rain, but a whole lot of cars. And I don't really know where my children have gone. The last time I saw them, they were salivating over a Bugatti. My 11-year-old, who is wandering around with this encyclopedic knowledge of engines and brake horsepower and things, and he said this is the one that's replacing the Veyron. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
I'm glad that your son is teaching you a thing or two.
At 11, yeah. The thing that they don't get at 11 is that you can't sort of just lie on them and touch the cars and stuff.
No.
Like,
no greasy fingerprints.
No greasy fingers and rips on your jeans.
Yeah.
Scratching the cars and everything. I'm just walking around going, please don't touch the £1 million car. So we've had a fantastic day. It's been brilliant. We went to the Jaguar Land Rover stand and we did that extraordinary assault course thing that they do. And
kids must have loved that.
They can't quite believe it. It was like, essentially, it's a roller coaster in a car, right? But the Ford Leap stand, so you've got the parkour guys throwing themselves off there. So all of our kids, and my godson's here with me as well, they were jumping off there.
They jumped off it as well?
They've all jumping off.
No.
You're going to throw your kids. I mean, what's not to love? Throw your kid off the stand. That's
off of
fantastic.
it's about 3 stories,
yes,
isn't it?
It's not small.
And you can't beat the noise as well. They must love the roar of those engines.
We just went down to the start line. And some of the cars, as they go past on the start line when they rev their engines, that noise that just goes through you, it's unbelievable. And you watch some of these guys, as they start on the start line, sort of going sideways up because it's so slippery. I think there's been 1 or 2 crashes today, which makes it all the more exciting. it's just extraordinary. Just watching them tear up the hill climb, as simple as it is one at a time, you just understand how fast and powerful those cars are.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Glad your family have enjoyed it, and I hope you come back next year.
Yes, and I hope you can find someone famous to interview as well, because there's famous people everywhere.
We will look harder next year. Thanks. Coming up next, we have some more exciting guests on the sofa, but in a moment we'll be cutting the cake as we celebrate 40 years of two of Britain's best-loved cars. Hello and welcome back to First Glance and Goodwood's Festival of Speed. Now, this year has been a year of celebrations. Recently, it was the Queen's 90th birthday, but in the motoring world, someone a little bit more senior to the Queen is BMW, and here at Goodwood, they're celebrating their centenary.
This weekend, we're also celebrating two special anniversaries. Yes, it's the big 4-0 for two very popular cars.
It is indeed, and that is the classic Golf GTI and the Ford Fiesta. So now I want to ask you to take a look back to 1976. A heatwave takes hold of the UK with record temperatures hitting 35 degrees Celsius.
Transport in the UK starts getting faster. Concorde takes to the skies for the first time, and the Intercity 125 trains start running between London and Bristol.
Well, in spirit of those celebrations, David and I decided to do our own time travelling. David took the Ford Fiesta for a spin, and I got the Golf GTI. This iconic grille, the double set of headlamps, I mean, just by looking at it, you knew this was the start of something special. The crisp lines, the bigger wheels, more grip for that racier feel, and an engine that was one of the first mechanical injections.
It's probably the most iconic hot hatch. You know, it has a hell of a following, more forums than I can list and number. Golf GTI sold 2 million worldwide and around 200,000 so far in the UK. I guess 2 million customers can't be wrong, can they?
Let's check out this interior. Oh, amazing. I mean, already you can feel the raciness coming out because you kind of got sports seats, extra cushion at the sides. You can see you've got your rev counter here, which, you know, the traditional Mark 1 would never have had. You've got your oil, your volts, and the wonderful, the iconic Golf knob gear stick. If every car should have something, that's what I'd make them have. I think we need to take it for a test drive. Let's go. And away we go. Oh my God, you can see why this is such a classic. You feel like you're part of the car. You can understand why the Golf GTI has sold 2 million units since its inception. I mean, it's brilliant. This is back to old school racing, driving. This is what it's all about. Everyone needs to own a Mark 1 Golf GTI. I certainly would love to. Fast forward 40 years and 6 generations of Golf, and you get this, the Mark 7 Golf GTI. It still looks so sharp. Well, why don't we see if there are any remnants of that Mark 1 in the Mark 7? And actually there are. We've got this design, the amazing tartan interior, which is such a nice feature to keep. Unfortunately, this car, because it's the DSG, doesn't have the golf ball gear stick, but it is available. And as you can imagine, traction control, all the gizmos and gadgets just waiting to be driven. Now this Mark 7 is pretty weighty compared to the original, weighing in at 1,350 kilos compared to 810, but for that you get double the horsepower. The original was 110 brake horsepower, this 220. Now, 40 years on, and VW are still using that same format when producing a Golf GTI. They're taking that practical family hatchback and adding sportiness. But it's not just the GTI that's celebrating its 40th birthday this year. Oh no, David's got another car up his sleeve.
The Golf GTI wasn't the only one born in 1976. We also had Baby Spice, Reese Witherspoon, Martine McCutcheon, Sir Chris Hoy, Benedict Cumberbatch no less, and of course, the Ford Fiesta. The Fiesta majored in safety, economy, reliability, and ease of service. It was sleek and modern, especially compared to some of the other offerings in 1970s Britain. Obviously, you've got the 70s really long throw gear change. Just in case you didn't know you only had 4 gears, it tells you that right up front on the dash. And it's a bit heavy on the steering. Not quite as sharp as a modern car, but it feels surprisingly good for its 40 years. It's doing quite well. And the Fiesta can really lay claim to being a car of the British people. It was owned and driven by everyone from the old lady popping out to the shops, kids learning how to drive, and even the odd celebrity. Since its launch, there's been over 4.3 million Fiestas sold in the UK alone. You can pretty much guarantee every time you go out, you'll see at least one Fiesta. Today's Fiesta is larger, safer, greener, and faster. The ST is the most powerful and sporty model available. This ST is fitted with a 1.6-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine developing 180 brake horsepower, which makes it rather lively on the road and the track. So let's see what it can do. If Ford keep making Fiestas this much fun, then roll on the next 40 years. I don't know about you, but I think I enjoy driving the older cars more than new ones.
Oh, absolutely. It just takes it back to what racing and driving is all about. And I love having the opportunity to drive that Mark 1 because I've had Golfs in my family. My dad had 2 Mark II Golfs. I had the Mark IV, both GTIs.
Step back in time.
Exactly. It was wonderful. But we're very excited because we have a guest joining us who has got some fantastic credentials. Not only is she the Telegraph motoring journalist, but also a racing driver, Rebecca Jackson. Rebecca, hello, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me on the show.
It seems like every time we do an interview now, the loudest cars come past. The loudest of all now with the F1 cars.
You cannot compete with CCs, can you?
Absolutely not. But here we're talking about the Golf and the Fiesta, obviously 40 years old, big 4.0. But it's about those enduring names and the cars that really have stood the test of time. I mean, they're not the only ones.
No, they're not the only ones. I mean, they are some of the best-selling cars of all time, but the longest nameplate, the 911, was released in 1963, and it's still going strong. I drove one up the hill this morning.
It's quite interesting looking at that list of the top 10 now, because even 40 years on, the Fiesta is still the #1 selling car in the UK.
Well, it's a perfect first car, isn't it? It's small, it's economical, cheap to buy, and it's a good entry into a brand. Ford has actually had more success in motorsport than any other car manufacturer. Did you know that?
Really? Wow, no, I didn't. Yeah, you did quite well. Your Fiesta is #1. Although the Golf did make it to the 4th spot, which isn't too bad.
And you're a bit of a fan of Golfs, aren't you?
I am,
That's
exactly.
good.
What did you think that the Mini was at number 10 in terms of sort of the UK's biggest selling cars? Was that a surprise?
Well, the Mini is very cool, isn't it? It's probably the coolest out of the hot hatches and the small hatches. So even if you can't afford to buy a performance version, or maybe you can't afford to run a performance car, at least it looks really cool, doesn't it? So yeah, I like the Minis.
I feel like I see a lot of Minis on the road, though, so it's not so much of a surprise to me.
It's lots of fun, so yeah, I can see why people buy them.
What is it that you think consumers really look for? You know, today we've had the Moving Motor Show here, we've got consumers, they're looking at potentially what cars they should be buying. What's the most important?
Well, that's just it, because I think it depends what you're going to be using the car for, and there is a car on the market for everybody. There's the cheapest 4-wheel drive you can buy, there's the most powerful, there's the most expensive. So do you want power, do you want fuel efficiency, or do you just want to look good?
That's why I think...
What do you want, David?
Well, it depends what day of the week it is, really. I think the surprising thing for me was #5, the Nissan Cash Cow, and that's a whole new genre we're seeing now.
Yeah, that's right.
Reviews,
well, those
it?
sort of vehicles are becoming more and more popular now, and they weren't even on anybody's radar 10 years ago.
Well, Rebecca, thank you very much for your insight.
My pleasure.
And enjoy the rest of your stay at Goodwood.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Coming up, we explore how technology is moving our daily drive to a whole new world, and I caught up with Keanu Reeves. Welcome back to our final part of First Glance here at Goodwood. And now we're about to ask what the future holds for the UK car industry. We've got motoring journalist here, Ben Oliver. Nice to have you on board.
Hi.
Now, it's not just been about the car news this weekend. We've played some pretty seismic political news. Brexit.
It is pretty seismic news. Obviously, it wasn't just a vote about, sort of finance, economics, manufacturing. It's not just about the car industry. It's about much wider issues than that. But if we're looking at the car industry, without doubt, it will have an enormous impact on the British car industry, both the manufacturers who are headquartered in the UK, like Jaguar Land Rover, and also manufacturers like Nissan, Honda, Toyota, who have very substantial factories here. It's going to impact all of them. And the key thing, the key problem is uncertainty. Businesses hate uncertainty, and we're now going to have a pretty long period while we renegotiate our relationships both with the European Union and with our other trading partners, because we need to negotiate new trade deals with them. And that's really bad news for exports, and it's also bad news for incoming investment into the country as well. So it remains to be seen how things will shake out, but it could be pretty bad.
We've seen the biggest growth in new car sales than ever seen before. How is it going to affect the consumer? How's it going to affect me?
You're right. I mean, it's a real shame because the British car industry is absolutely rampant at the moment.
It's booming.
Absolutely. We built
1.6
million cars last year, which was a new record since before the financial crisis. And also our exports specifically were a huge success. We were exporting 77%, more than 3/4 of the cars built in this country went overseas. And of those, more than half went to the European Union. So that's the real problem. There's really no guarantee that we'll be able to build cars in such great number when the trading bloc that is comfortably our biggest customer, we've just thrown up all our trade agreements with them. It's nothing like this has happened in the British car industry for a long time.
Gosh, in uncertain times.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for sharing all your expert views, and good luck for the next few weeks. I'm sure it's going to be a very busy time for you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Now, Goodwood has always provided a natural stage for advances in technology that push the boundaries of the conventional car. Nikki's off to find out more about what the future holds.
So we've had a look at how British politics might affect the car industry in a few years to come. But what about from 100 years from now? Well, we caught up with Ian Robertson to discuss BMW's vision of car technology.
The majority of what we've been involved in and we've been developing is how we see mobility moving in the future. The ability to enjoy mobility is now really shifting. So we're going to see electrification moving across the whole range. Connectivity is moving and very, very quickly. Why should the car not be part of this new ecosystem? Your car should make a lot of the decisions for you. This vehicle behind is also capable of autonomous driving. It will leave you at your destination, it will come and collect you. Inside, you have the materials performing an intuitive relationship. It has the ability to shape-shift. The exterior design of this vehicle is one of the best we've ever done. Everyone's Mini is individual. It can, of course, operate within a shared environment. But what you also have here is many of the elements of this connectivity that you're seeing themed through all of our vehicles in a Mini, which is portraying it in an only truly Mini way as well. Many Rolls-Royce drivers would say that they have autonomous driving already because they have a driver. This is the next step. In an autonomous world, clearly there are many opportunities for space in a different format. So the vehicle that you see, you're effectively in your own personal lounge, and that space is truly really special.
Back to the present, and we're here at Goodwood at the Tesla stand. Now, this is the Tesla Model S, and this car has the ability to drive autonomously on the motorway, and that means no hands on the steering wheel, no feet on the pedals, and it can even change lanes all by itself. Seriously impressive. And in just 6 months, these cars have racked up a total of 47 million miles in total. Now, another company leading the charge with autonomous technology is Bosch. Let's take a look at what they've been up to. Can you just talk us through what's going on and, what these sensors are hanging off the back of the car?
Sure. Well, actually what we do with the prototype is to replace the human driver.
Right.
It means we have to replace their eyes, their hands, their feet. And to replace the eyes, we use surround sensors. So we're using sensors like, for example, the LiDAR here.
Right.
We have 6 of them.
So we can see here, right on the back, these sort of box-like structures. So
Exactly.
that's to get a sense of what's going on around the car.
Yes. Then additionally, we have radar technologies. This is what we call the long-range radar.
Right.
We use it to detect and classify obstacles on the road.
In 2018, the law's going to change to allow vehicle manufacturers to sell cars that you can take your hands off the wheel on a motorway for about 3 minutes at a time. 2021, you'll be able to buy a car where you can take your hands off the wheel on the motorway the whole journey.
Every year we're always treated to the displays and roars of these V8 and V10 engines. But this year making its debut is the fully electric single-seater race car that currently competes in the Formula E Championship. Now, it was Renault Edams who actually won the very first season of Formula E, and they look set to claim victory in Season 2 in this car. But imagine taking the driver out of the equation altogether. Well, there's a new championship that's launching this year called Robo Race. It's the very first driverless racing championship. Let's find out how those plans are coming along.
Robo Race is the global championships of intelligence and technology, and it's really the first time there's ever been a driverless electric arena.
The teams basically will be programming the cars, and the best program is what will win the race.
We really believe that this championship will help to develop technology much faster, because competition is always something which helps companies to move faster.
We're passionate about motorsport, all of us, and we think it's an incredible arena, but there is a space where motorsport overlaps with gaming and technology and entertainment.
We all accept and understand that the future of automotive is driverless, but people can think that it's going to happen in 10-15 years. What we do with the Robo Race, we bring in this future now.
Now, it's not all about cars this weekend. There's bikes as well. Take a guess who's putting this one through its paces. So we see you at lots of motoring events, but tell me, what brings you to Goodwood?
What brings us here? Well, first of all, it's Goodwood. And, you know, the history, the legacy, and, you know, to have the invitation to be a part of it was thrilling for me and for everyone involved. I'm here with Arch Motorcycle Company. It's a new motorcycle company, and they gave us the privilege of going up the hill.
Yeah, I gather you're not just a spectator, you're actually taking part in this.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely gobsmacking. You know, it's not only just that, but I mean, it's getting a chance to meet other riders and looking at all the machines. And I mean, it's like motoring heaven here. I mean, it's motorcycles, cars, helicopters, planes, and all of the legends involved with the machines, and all the gentlemen who are bringing out the cars from the museums, and the F1 and the GT4. I mean, it's just...
It's overwhelming, isn't it? It's a sort of assault on the senses when you come here.
I know, but it's the best kind of assault. And to hear them start and then, you know, and rough superior. I mean, it's just crazy.
It's almost incredible how nobody thought of this before, because it's like motor shows around the world, they're always in these boring convention centres and everything's still. Yeah. And this is the one place in the world you actually see things, and they're moving, you can hear them, you can see them.
I know, and smell them. And, you know, it was great. I mean, yesterday was a little bit of rain, and there was just something kind of beautiful to see these, I don't know, like the Ferraris and the race cars just in the environment, in the elements like that. Yeah. It just made it feel so alive, and then to see them in the sunshine.
Yes,
that was really great.
Tell us a little bit about the hill. What was that like?
It's pretty deceptive. All of the turns are a little blind. It was off cameras, but it was muddy, and everyone was really kind. They were just like, take it easy. It's Friday, it's muddy, hang out. Saturday, check it out a little more. And then if you're feeling comfortable on Sunday, give it a bit of beans, you know?
I like you got the lingo now.
Yeah, it was like, all right.
Well, look, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend here.
Thank you.
I hope it gets warmer, drier, and faster.
Yes.
Thanks so much. Cheers. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Well, Keanu Reeves certainly looked like he's enjoying himself, just like us, of course. But sadly, that's it. That's all we've got time for. I really hope you've enjoyed your VIP access from the Moving Motor Show to seeing those gorgeous supercars roaring up the hill climb.
Don't forget to look out this week for more action from the Festival of Speed.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Here we go.